This morning we're working on a Buffalo Scout guidance system. Buffalo no longer makes the Scout 2 guidance system. It was a Hall effect magnetic sensor type system. Very hard to work on. You couldn't call in and I couldn't help you really unless I had the guidance system right here to do it right here. I'll get me a painter's scraper or a wedge type unit, and then I center the guidance system so it can't move. So it's totally centered. Then when I turn on the guidance system, come here and look at this. I've got it set on the wands, and this little box right here is a wonderful tool to have with your guidance system. You can program your guidance system with this little box. It'll show. I can't. There's going to be about 5 or 6 red lights, 5 or 6 green lights when you turn your knob right or left. Okay. Now, I put a wedge in here, and we're going to talk just a little bit about the inside of this box. You need this little, it's got irons coming down on both sides of the photocell. So as this guidance system turns, it blocks off from the light in behind here, shooting across. It blocks the light off, tells the guidance system through this solenoid valves and stuff up here, tells the guidance system through this box, which is identical to this one, tells it to turn the opposite direction. So if you're getting off of the row, right or left, it will tell you what's going on. So in order to center this, let's say your guidance system, we had 3 or 4 green lights on it here. Okay, so we're going to have to center this. In other words, this piece is not centered with the 2 photocells. So that's why we use this little wedge unit in here to make this solid. That centers this up. Then we will set this. Now, here's another thing. You want this center of this box centered with the center pin of the guidance system. So we have to have these blocks in here. And if you put this over on the opposite side of this, you're not going to be centered. So you're going to be running 1 or 2 inches off of center with the guidance system. So this thing has to be, the center of this box has to be centered with the center pin and your guidance system. Same with this box up here. And when we did this unit, this arm was bent over a little bit. It was showing 3 to 4 green lights. It was centered up when it was bent. Then when we straightened this arm back out, we were 3 or 4 lights off of center with that. So we got it straightened. So we had to go into this box. And you can see, look at it, just look through here. We've got it centered now. We had to loosen that set screw and turn this just a little bit. Can you see in there? Can you see the red light?
Yep.
So we've got these 2 arms centered between the 2 photocells, and that'll either leave us one green light, and that's pretty well centered right there. If you have 1 red and 1 green, it's perfectly centered. If you have no lights, it's perfectly centered. And a lot of times, if I can get it this close with 1 light, you're close enough on the unit. Okay? So we put our lid back on. You always have to have the lid on when you're, after you center it, you think you got it centered, put the lid back on, and then it will, okay. You see I've got 2 lights here right now. So we're not totally And you want this centered right here on both sides when you have it in manual position. We're going to turn the unit on right now. Oh, I've got it on ones. Okay, both lights are off now. I had it on one. You've got the one system and the toolbar system. If we flipped it over there, and this is manual, this will be, we can control this guidance system manually with our knob here, and it totally disconnects the wand system. Okay, okay, turn it on now. Now come in close. Okay, I've got it on wands. Now I'm going to turn the manual knob. You can see it went all the way to the right. Now I'm going to go all the way to the left. That's why this little box is very important, because I can bring this back. Now I'm perfectly centered basically on both sides here. I will shut this system off, and then, okay, now I can, all right, now I'm ready to do my wand bracket. So I use this little wedge. I'll pull this out again and show you. I put a wedge in here to center this. And I've got my system on. Now I'm going to switch everything to wands. Okay? And it's pretty well centered. There's no lights showing. I've got it totally centered. If you pull this off, it shows 2 green lights. You got to have it dark in there. Okay? So I've got this in center. But if I took it out of center, in other words, if I had 2 or 3 lights showing, there it's, I can turn my knob a little bit and center it. Yeah, so it's pretty well centered up here again on that. All right. Now I'm gonna let the wands run. Okay. Now the wands are engaged. I'm clear to the left. Now I'm gonna go to the right. Going to the right again. So this is why it's important, because you cannot set this, because see, this thing is moving. See, it won't work as long as there's lights in here, because those photocells are sensing light besides this. So it's got to be dark. So that's why we put our wedge in, and it'll automatically center it up again. We're centered. Okay, shut her off.